The summer air in that old Virginia suburb hung heavy, like a secret everyone knew but no one dared whisper. The family table at Mom and Dad's place groaned under platters of pot roast and mashed potatoes. The kind of spread that screamed, "We're fine. Everything's normal." But nothing was. I slipped in late, my heels clicking softly on the linoleum, fresh from a 12-hour shift at the tech firm in D.C., where I crunched code that kept Fortune 500s from crashing. Jason was already holding court at the head, his laugh booming like he owned the room, and in their eyes. He did. Forks paused midair when he spoke. Eyes lit up like he was dispensing wisdom instead of recycled jokes. I took my seat at the far end, next to the empty chair that might as well have been labeled afterthought. Mom. Evelyn passed the gravy boat my way with a quick smile. Just water for you. Emily? Watching that figure, no one probed deeper. No one ever did. Then Dad, Harlan, raised his glass of iced tea, his voice gravelly from years of coaching Little League. To Jason, he boomed, "The rock of this family. Always stepping up when it counts." Claps rippled around the table. I kept my hands in my lap, forcing a nod because sometimes a nod is armor against the questions that would shatter the illusion. But inside, it burned slow, a ember waiting for wind. Earlier that afternoon, I'd hit send on another wire transfer from my app, $2,500 to Jason's account. Memo line reading for the house payment, love. It was the 38th one in 3 years. No response ever came, not a text, not a call, not even a casual mention over coffee. Once, I'd suggested routing it straight to the mortgage company. Evelyn had waved it off from her spot at the stove, stirring soup like it was a ritual. Just go through Jason. Honey. Keeps things simple. Simple. I scrolled through my transaction history under the tablecloth while the laughter swelled around Jason's latest tale of hustling in his vague consulting gig that never seemed to land clients. Simple had turned into erasure, a quiet vanishing act where my contributions dissolved into his glow. The meal dragged on, Evelyn circling with fresh rolls, placing one delicately on Jason's plate like a crown. "Our hero today," she murmured, patting his back. Mine landed on the edge of my napkin, half rolling off. And Uncle chuckled. "That's real family love." I twisted the cloth in my lap, letting the words sink in like ink on skin. Silence wasn't weakness, it was the fuse I hadn't lit yet. That night, sleep evaded me like a promise unkept. I paced the guest room, laptop glowing on the quilted bedspread, pulling up statements that mapped out the invisible web I'd woven. Not in rage, but in a cold, sharpening focus. Clarity sharpened the edges of every memory, the missed birthdays, the overlooked promotions, the way my name faded from conversations like smoke. By dawn, the house stirred with deliberate quiet, footsteps tiptoeing around the truth. I overheard Evelyn in the kitchen, her voice low to Aunt Clara, Emily's. Different. Not as outgoing as Jason. Different. The word lodged in my throat like a splinter. I wasn't different, I was inconvenient. A steady force they didn't need to celebrate because I didn't demand it. I stepped out onto the Duslick porch, phone in hand, dialing Evelyn just to test the water. She answered on the third ring. "Hey, sweetie, oh. Jason's on the other line. I'll call back." Click. The screen stared back, blank as always. Patterns like that don't break hearts anymore, they forge resolve. By midday, Jason rolled up in his beat-up SUV, keys jangling like trophies, barking into his Bluetooth about synergizing opportunities with invisible partners. Evelyn hustled over with a plate of leftovers. "Sit. Jason, your favorites." Harlan chuckled at some quip about real entrepreneurs taking risks, and Jason preened like he'd invented the wheel. He clapped my shoulder in passing. Still grinding away at that coding job. I muttered under my breath. Still pretending to have one. He didn't hear, or chose not to. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend. Lena. How's the visit? I pocketed it. Unfinished. After the meal, I found myself at the sink, scrubbing plates crusted with food I hadn't touched. The water scalded my hands, but I let it. Pain was a reminder that I still felt something beneath the numbness. This wasn't duty, it was habit. A loop I'd trapped myself in, fixing their messes while they applauded his empty hands. Sunday crept in with birdsong that felt mocking. I jogged the neighborhood trails before the house woke. Sneakers pounding pavement like unanswered questions. Kids zipped by on bikes, their mom yelling about safety from the sidewalk. It tugged at me, not envy, but an echo of what I'd given without fanfare. That first transfer? It started when the foreclosure notice hit their mailbox. Jason forgetting to pay again. I'd covered it anonymously, then watched him bask in the relief like he'd saved the day. Back in my DC apartment that afternoon, I ignored the work pings and opened a digital vault I'd started. Contributions, screenshots of transfers, emails confirming deliveries of gifts I'd sent, new appliances, medical bills paid, even that smart thermostat for Dad's arthritis. All routed through Jason. All claimed as his. One forward from him to Harlan. Handled the payment this month, Jay. My words. My money. His signature. It wasn't theft, it was appropriation. A slow siphoning of credit that left me hollowed out. Twilight painted the sky as I drove back for a neighborhood barbecue Evelyn insisted on. The living room walls were a gallery of curated memories, framed photos where Jason loomed large. His grin eternal. One caught my eye, Harlan's retirement bash. The group shot I'd orchestrated with a timer. My face? Cropped to the margins. Just a sliver of hair. Why this version? I asked lightly. Evelyn shrugged. You looked distracted. Distracted. I lingered after they fired up the grill, staring at that incomplete image. The camera itself? Bought with my bonus. Gifted with hope. Harlan's response, does it zoom? Ungrateful? No. Just indifferent. I renamed my vault folder on my phone, my proof. Not for confrontation yet, for the day silence broke. Dinner hummed with chatter. But I floated above it like a ghost at the feast. Evelyn unveiled a wrapped package mid-meal. Look what Jason surprised us with. Inside. A digital frame cycling family snaps, Harlan's fishing trips. Jason's achievements. I recognized it instantly, I'd ordered it. Curated the photos. Even added metadata with my initials. But the card? From Jason. With love. He smiled serenely. Unflinching. Something cracked inside me, not loud, but irreversible. Later. Eavesdropping from the hall. I heard Evelyn on the phone. Jason's our glue. Emily? She's just around. Just around. Not vital. Not valued, just a fixture they dusted off when convenient. I confronted Jason on the porch. Voice steady. You're claiming my efforts? He shrugged. Family shares everything. What's the big deal? The deal was the rewrite. The erasure of my role in their story. I didn't storm off. I collected fragments, a book I'd gifted Harlan. Unread, a scarf for Evelyn. Unworn. I unplugged the frame, slipping a note into its box, built on funds you never questioned. Sleep eluded me again. But this time with purpose. At the kitchen table under a buzzing bulb, I pored over Evelyn's old ledger. I digitized entries marking Jason's contributions as 0. Mine as expected. I was a debit, not a daughter. Numbness spread. But so did steel. Monday dawned sharp. Evelyn hosted a friend for brunch. I lingered in the background. Unkempt. The friend squinted. You the help. Evelyn laughed it off without correction. Erased again. Back in DC. Lena's call pierced the haze. How long will you play invisible? I journaled that night. Pen digging into paper. What if I stop? The answer crystallized. Freedom from the weight of unreciprocated love. Coffee steamed as Evelyn slid papers across the counter. Sign this. M for the house management. Jason's local. I scanned. My name struck through. His elevated. Not an update, a disinheritance. Harlan sipped coffee. Unmoved. Makes sense with you away. Sense? It was excision. I signed. But snapped photos first, evidence over emotion. Lunch followed. Evelyn directing a photo op, just the boys. Jason teased. Don't chop our heads off. They laughed. I captured the exclusion. Titling the album, their choice. An email from Lena forwarded Evelyn's message to Kin. Emily's stable. But Jason's our hope. Stable, like a shelf. Not a soul. Then. A birthday card unearthed in my drawer. My script swapped for Jason's scrawl. Theft deepened to forgery. I compiled it all, digital fortress of facts. The family unity dinner was a farce. Walls plastered with Jason's triumphs. Me blurred in one. His toast. I held us together. I rose. Screen sharing my ledger to the TV. Transfers. Receipts. Forwards exposed. You toasted him. But I funded it. Silence choked the room. Evelyn stammered. We didn't know. I countered. You didn't care to. No applause now, just the weight of truth. The next morning. Tension simmered. Evelyn's quip. Girls like you are tough. A cousin pushed back. Tough doesn't mean invisible. Harlan mumbled about legacy. I was removed from the family Facebook, torch passed to Jason. I documented. Undeterred. My award ceremony gleamed. Innovation leader. Emily Carter. Empty seats where family should be. Jason's kids event trumped it. Then. A bank notice. Fraud alert. Jason had co-signed debt in my name via that lease update. Lena. My lawyer friend. Confirmed. Fraud. We dispute. Charges loomed. But I sought severance. Not vengeance. Cousins whispered. Emily's ruining him. I forwarded proof. Letting truth stand alone. Folders grew. Debt deceit. They could rewrite history no more. I held the original script. As I walked away from that Virginia porch for the last time, Evelyn murmured. She chose this. I turned. Voice unyielding. No. I chose myself.